Today, you're going to hear the story of Valerie.
I noticed that I started getting attention, inappropriate attention. So I did notice little by little, I started putting on weight.
Valerie will show you how what happened to you affects what is happening to you now, and it affects your future.
I told myself I just wanted to slice it off and just, why am I like this? I shied away from attention. I didn't want to be the center of attention. Sometimes people wait too long to get help. I think I waited a little too long to get help.
My name is Maria Trusa, and I, like many of you, was a victim of sexual abuse. But today I am standing here as a survivor. I have broken the silence, and today I say no more. And for our segment of our case study, we welcome back Dr. Maria Isabel Limardo, who is a specialist in human genetics and a well-being coach. Welcome back, Dr. Limardo.
Thank you, Maria, for bringing me back. I am delighted to be here. I love the work you're doing. It's so informative for everybody.
I know that you do a lot of work in human genetics and well-being. I want you to talk to us about a case, a study that was done called the ACE study that I have heard throughout many of the books that I've listened to, the last one being Oprah's book, What Happened to You? This is an extremely important case, a study that is actually quite old. Can you talk to us about it?
Well, the ACE study is a study that took about 50 years to complete. It was published in 1994 through Kaiser University. And what it told us is that first, 1 in 6 kids lived in abusive, traumatizing conditions or had trauma that in the long run developed depression, diseases, and difficulty in developing relationship with others. This study was an eye-opening because it was the first time that could see a correlation between a traumatizing event and developing a disease later on. So it is very important, especially with the case we have today, somebody who was abused as a child. What is been happening to her now? Did she was able to get over it? What kind of help is out there for her or for her children, so this situation doesn't ever come back again or happens again?
Dr. Limardo, I love what you said when we were speaking before the show, how we don't even really understand that the reason we are where we are is because of the trauma that we went through.
Well, sometimes people beat themselves so hard because they say, and especially now that people are more aware that you have to be eating healthy and doing exercises and meditation, and they are like, why am I not getting well? What is it that I do that it's not getting me there? I take my medicines, I do this and that. But when you talk to your doctor and you go back and say, this happened to me, and I have a score of an ACE score of, let's say, 4 to 20, and you go, my God, I did have this event in my life that impacted me so much that I now developed this chronic condition. Okay. But the good news is intervention, early intervention, looking for help. If we have other doctors and other practitioners and other facilitators having their clients or patients taking this test, you could go to places like your clinic and there is going to be help. You're probably going to refer to a mental practitioner. And there are other things to do, like reading books, like you're doing. Some books, just like Oprah says, gave me an aha moment. And I'm like, yes, I could pivot or shift my situation into something else, not dwelling in the past, but okay, I know this is happening. I know that happened. What can I do from now on?
So, trauma sensitivity. It's like we have to be sensitive to the fact that we have gone through this, but understand that we don't have to stay stuck in it, that there is help. I know that, they say 85% of the healing starts when you are starting to be aware, and which is key. And this is information that is critical. And I realize that a lot of the businesses, even now when we're dealing with a pandemic, we realize that we are dealing with people that are overly stressed. And now their trauma will come to the surface a lot more. And we're not ready to really deal with what is happening because a lot of the businesses are not trauma sensitive or they don't have a trauma-informed system. So what would you advise the businesses out there that want to really make a difference and deal with this trauma sensitivity? How could they start creating a trauma-informed system within their business?
Definitely, it's good to have an HR department and have somebody there that at least has knowledge of being trained in ACE study. Then what they could do is maybe the HR person give the test and say there is help. Or if the person says, I'm not ready to give the test or this is too private, tell them to go to the CDC website and the test is there. Once you take the test, you could go to your doctor and say, look, I've been suffering, I've been in pain. So your doctor probably will be able to refer you to a mental health practitioner. And then develop a practice for yourself to take care of yourself and know that there is help out there.
I love it. Thank you so much. We realize that we can make an impact in ourselves and we can make an impact on you by bringing you this information. There is help out there. And then take the action that is going to lead to a change that is positive in your life. Thank you, Dr. Limardo, for joining us again and for really contributing to the movement of yodigonomas. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have come to my favorite part of the show, the inspirational segment. And today, I want to introduce you to someone that I personally had the opportunity to coach, Valerie. Valerie, thank you so much for being here in Yodigonomas. I know this is hard to do, but you took the courage and you've decided to break the silence with us. And we want you to know that we take that very serious and we are grateful to have you here with us. Tell us a little bit about you, Valerie. What do you do now? Do you have kids? We want to get to know you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Maria. I just wanted to come here and just say my story. I'm a mother of two. I have a daughter that is 17. Well, she'll be 17 soon enough. And another daughter
You look
that's
17.
Thank you. And so I have, I had them quite young. I was 19 and 21 when I had them. I'm married, been with my husband for about 22 years. Started dating when I was 15. And, I'm just here to just tell my story, just share with people. If there's anything that I can say or share here that will help, someone out there, someone with either young daughters like myself, trying to cope with raising young girls, and also just, help people just realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel, even if you've
We are survivors, like I was saying. We are survivors. And currently, what kind of business do you do?
So I'm in real estate. I've been in real estate for about, I would say, 15 years now. I'm a real estate agent. I've been working out of the Westchester, Bronx area and Queens for the last 15 years. I also have a background in property management as well.
I want you to share with us, just tell us a little bit about, your parents, where you come from.
Okay, so I was raised and born I was born and raised in the Bronx. My father was quite a bit older than my mother. I would say about close to 20 years older than my mother. And my mom, they're both of, Puerto Rican descent. They immigrated here when they were young. My father was a functioning alcoholic, you would say. When I was 8, he passed from, cirrhosis of the liver. During, my mom, they were married. They were together for a few years before they got married. They were married in 1982. So, I came 2 years later. They were not expecting any children because they didn't think my mom could have any. My mom already had a younger, a son. My father had my older sister, another brother. I was never raised with that other brother. He was taken away at a young age by his mother. This was back in the 70s where, you couldn't really track the mother. She just disappeared and took her son. Then I had another brother that was born to my father, and that's like, one family member. And then after that, I have just me and my younger brother. So it's only me, my sister, and 4 brothers altogether.
So you live with your mom pretty much most of your life?
I lived with my mom until I was about 18 years old. So at 18, I met my husband when I was 15. He's from Brooklyn. I graduated high school at 18. Immediately after that, I started looking for an apartment and, I got my own place with my husband. And at that point, a few months later, we had our first daughter. So immediately after graduating high school, I was pleasantly surprised with my first daughter, Alexis. And then, I decided I had to go get my own place. I'm not going to raise my child in my mother's house. At that point, 2 years later, less than 2 years later, I got pregnant with my other daughter, unexpectedly. It was not planned. And I had her, and then at that point, I was like, I need to focus on my career, raising these kids, making sure that we have a roof over our head. That's why I pushed so hard to put enough money together so that we can buy our own home for stability.
Now, I want to go back to the dynamic of your family, because you talk about you lived with your mom, but there was a half brother that would come to stay with you.
Okay. So when my father came down with cirrhosis, he got very ill. My mom was going back and forth to the hospital quite a bit to spend time with him, make sure, he was getting his treatment. I have an older sister. She would stay with us, but she was also working during that time. At that point, we have, when my father was very sick, my half brother, his mother passed at some point. I don't know how, I don't know what the whole dynamic of that. He came to come live with us during that time. That was about when I was 6 years old. When he came to live with us, he would at times babysit because my mom was running back and forth to the hospital, work.
How old was he?
He was, I would say, he probably was around 13, 14, if that. He was older. I know he was a teenager already. And he was babysitting me and my younger brother, who was 2 years younger at that time. So if I was about 6, he was 4, and so forth. So my younger brother, even though he was there, he didn't know about what's going on around him. So when he moved in, at that time, I guess there was the time of grooming took place. So he would buy me Christmas gifts. Like I'm a big fan of The Little Mermaid, always been. And he would, my favorite gift one Christmas was a Little Mermaid doll. But the problem is my memory is that he gave me that doll and as a Christmas gift, and that, kind of taints that a little bit for me. But
why?
Because it was like his way of kind of softening me up in order for what was to come. Pretty much, that's what it was. Kind of getting me comfortable, because I did not know this family. I didn't know him. He came to live with us when he was already a teenager. I was a little kid. We spent a lot of time alone in the house with just me, him, and my younger brother. And everybody would be working and busy, and there was a lot of, uncertainty during that time because my father was very sick, and he was the main breadwinner at that time as well. So there were at that point, when he did move in with us, he would buy me little silly gifts, be extra nice to me. I got that extra attention that I didn't get from everyone else. I love my sister, but my sister wasn't the most warmest person. She was a little warmer to my younger brother, but with me, it was like, she kept me at a distance pretty much. So I was pretty much on my own for the most part at home, me and my younger brother, and then he would be around. My mom worked, and then after that, immediately after work, she would go to the hospital and come back. And that was like that for a few years until, my dad finally passed when I was 8 years old in 92. So my half brother decided to take it upon himself to take that time to molest me. It happened, I don't know exactly the age, if it was 6 or 7, or if it started when I was 8 years old, but I do know that it was always disguised as play. It was never something that was super obvious, because he would literally pretty much do it right in front of my younger brother. And my younger brother would have no idea of what was going on. If I have to explain, one game that he used to play was it was like a blanket game or like a bed sheet game, where he would throw a comforter over the two of us. We would be on the bed, on the floor, whatever it is. And since he was big, much bigger than I was, much stronger, he would hold the bed sheets or the blanket to the point where my younger brother the whole idea was my younger brother was supposed to try to get under the blanket. And during that time, because he was so strong, my brother's like 4 years old, 6 years, 5 years old, he could not get under. And then he would use that time to, inappropriately touch me, or have me inappropriately touch him. And just, a lot of, groping and things like that. And I don't know exactly how far it went. I don't remember. There's a lot of empty parts.
Yeah, that happens.
That I can think of, that it's did it go that far? I don't know. There was another game that he played where he would use the trick of playing Uno for hours. We would play Uno for hours until everybody got tired of playing it, and then everybody would just kind of disperse. And then I was very competitive, so I would sit there and play for hours until I won. And when everybody would leave, he would use that. And our bedroom was towards the front of the house where I guess the main entrance is, and then the rest of the rooms and living room, and it was all the way on the other side. There was a long hallway in between. So he had a lot of privacy, even with the door wide open. If someone's coming down the hall, you'll hear them.
Would your mother be looking for you? Would
She would not always, nobody would really, they thought we were playing. That's what they thought. But it's not normal or typical for a teenager at that age to spend so much time with a younger sibling.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to really pay attention. Look, family is sometimes, they can be good, they can be bad. It is what it is. You can't choose your family. You know, and I just feel like people need to just be always cautious with your children at all times.
Like you have 2 girls.
I have 2 daughters, yes.
How do you think that experience affected you, the way you parent?
Well, I can say that I was very overprotective, maybe a little bit more overprotective than most. You know, it was not just in the household. I had other experiences that happened to me throughout my adolescence. One was, you know, one time I was at a summer camp, and I've never really told anyone this. I did tell my therapist, which I did start seeing, but I was at a summer camp and we were doing a painting art gallery, and the teacher, you know, invited me after, and a few others, but no one else showed up, but invited us after to do some painting because we had a show coming up. I was working on my painting, and at that point he took it upon himself to come up behind me and like try to inappropriately touch me. At that point I was very uncomfortable, and I kind of just like pretty much ended the painting session at that time and said, you know what, I'm pretty much done, I'm gonna go, and I left. Never told anyone about that. Other times, you know, another family member, I won't mention their name, but or who they are exactly, they're long gone. But I remember one time my uncle had passed. He passed unexpectedly. We had the wake, and then afterwards we went to a restaurant, well-known restaurant, City Island, all the way at the end. And while ordering, I went out to go order. It's a very busy restaurant where the counter gets really, you know, jam-packed with a lot of people. Everybody's trying to order. And this person came up behind me. He was a family member, and he tried to put his hand in my pants from the front. Like we're standing at the counter. There's lots of people there. I'm not an adult. I'm like probably 13 years old at that point, and I just froze. But at that point, I was already a little older, so I said, you better take your hand out before I scream bloody hell, and I'll tell everybody. And at that point, he just disappeared, and he left and went the other way. He avoided me the rest of the day. But one thing I wish I would have done was I wish I would have said something to my stepfather, who was right outside, to anyone, just said something.
Why do you think you didn't?
Because a lot of times what I see is that in Hispanic families and those backgrounds, you know, men, you're scared that if you tell them something like that, like someone touched you inappropriately, they're gonna go crazy and they're gonna kill that person. So people are scared that their own, you know, loved one is gonna be affected or hurt if you say something.
I know that we avoid talking to our children about sex and talking about the fact that ugly exists in the world. It exists in our families. It exists in the people that are the closest to us. We need to have the conversation. We can prevent this from continuing to happen if we raise our voices and we educate our kids. Valerie, I want you to take us on the journey that you went through with your weight, because one of the things that happens to many of us, the survivors of sexual abuse, is that we find a way to damage what is causing the trauma, what's causing the pain, our bodies. And I know that, you know, as you're telling me, your step brother, your half brother did this, other members of the family, other people are touching you, a teacher. I am assuming you as a child are imagining like, what? Do I have a sign? Like, yeah, you can do whatever you want with me. And this reminds me of one of the stories from our first, the first episodes of Yodigonomas talk show with Sandy, where she said, I felt that I had a tattoo sign on my forehead. Abuse me. Come, you can abuse me. Because that's what happened to her. Many people within the family structure and people close to the family abused her. And I'm listening to you with a similar story, and I'm thinking, what message are we getting as women and men? But I think, unfortunately, we are the majority, not the minority as women. What message is giving to us? And then the damage, and one of the damage that we haven't really gone into here is the journey of destroying your body. So can you tell us about this journey that you've gone through?
Okay, so when I was a child, I was always a normal, weight. I wasn't overweight or anything like that. And then once I started developing more and more, by the age of 12 or so, 10, 12, I noticed that I started getting attention, inappropriate attention. So I did notice little by little, I started putting on weight. And when I met my husband at 15, he never made me feel like I was already heavier than I should have been, but I wasn't to where I ended up. So I wasn't there yet. It was in the beginning stages. And he never made me feel like any other kind of way. So I thought it was okay. I have someone. I don't want the attention from other men or other people. I don't want to, be accosted on the train or traveling or whatever it is. So I didn't care anymore. Have my kids, let the weight just keep piling on. I was never like a binge eater or anything. I didn't take care of myself. It's like I wasn't important at that time.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I put them always first. My girls always put them first. Everything was put everybody else first. And then, just time started passing, and then I realized I was 30 years old and I'm nearly 350 pounds.
Wow.
So, getting to that age, and I started to get high blood pressure so young, and I started to be like, okay, I need to do something, and I had...
You basically assured that nobody was going to look at you.
Nobody was going to bother me. It was my safety blanket, a way to kind of shield myself from the world. I remember one day I went shopping and I could not find anything that fit me the way it should fit. And I was just looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, I just want to just slice it off, and
it's painful, Valerie. I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
And I just, I told myself I just wanted to slice it off and just, why am I like this? I'm not meant to be this way. I always tell myself, I'm a skinny girl trapped in this body. I'm not meant to be this way. I kept telling myself, I'm not meant to be this. Something is wrong. Even though, everybody's like, oh, nothing is wrong with you. You have a good job. You have a good career, husband, kids that are doing good in school. They're good kids. There's nothing wrong, but when my life was to the point where I was limiting, I couldn't do certain things that I would normally do, like going to the theater or going on an airplane, getting on a roller coaster, things like that I could not do because I was, a size that, wasn't normal. It's difficult, and then I started putting 2 and 2 together, and I was like, it's this trauma. I know this is what it is. I just trying to keep the attention away from me and deterring the attention. I don't want to, this is why I'm like this.
And, you know, we are healing. We're going to be healing for the rest of our lives. But the progress that you've made, I want you to own it. I want you to validate yourself. So you took the stand for yourself and you said no more. And look at the results. Look at where you are. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
And to shed all that weight, to shed all that pain, it is not easy to do.
And so I'm still working on it. You know, it's not, I'm not a finished product by any means. You know, I'm in the process of trying to, you know, put myself out there even more. I was very shy, you know, on, you know, social media and things like that, just trying to be more free and open with people and just be myself. When I was a little girl, I remember before any of this craziness happened, we used to have house parties. My dad used to, you know, he was always the life of the party and everything. And he used to tell me, come on, Val, dance, dance. I used to love dancing in front of everybody, be the center of attention. And then, like, after this happened, I realized that was, I shied away from attention. I didn't want to be the center of attention.
Yeah. And that's why you took a journey of really destroying your body. But you know, Valerie, I want to say that I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I am proud of the work that you've done. I am proud that you decided to come here and break the silence. And I'm proud that you realize that you're not a finished product, because guess what? You know when we finish? When we go.
Yes.
We are always going to be evolving. And what I want, this message from Valerie, I want all of you to understand how important it is that we pay attention to our children, that we do not neglect them by letting them spend so much time alone. It doesn't matter who it is that they're with. It could be a brother, half brother. It could be a babysitter. It could be anyone, because unfortunately the monster is in the house 90% of the time. We also realized that Valerie decided to say no more to destroying her body, that her body became her temple. We want your body to be your temple, your body and your mind, and realize that it is possible, that you can go from victim to creator. Valerie, one last message to a child that is out there experiencing sexual abuse.
If I have to, you know, talk to that little girl, little boy, you know, just, it's not your fault, never your fault. Even if you don't understand what is happening and you realize it later on that it was not the right thing, it shouldn't have been happening, don't blame yourself. Don't think that, you know, just because you look a certain way, that people are still not gonna, you know, be inappropriate, because in the end, you have no control what other people do. You only have control what you do, and of your own body, yourself, and the decisions that you make. And if you make bad decisions, you have to live with them. So, you know, be strong, you know, push through, seek help if you are, you know, sometimes people wait too long to get help. I think I waited a little too long to get help. You know, family, they do their best. They tell you, oh, but I'm here for you. I can listen to whatever it is that you need to say. Sometimes you need professional help.
Yeah.
Like professional, someone that's not in the mix, not in that environment, you know, someone outside to come in and help you work through your difficulties.
Valerie, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And together, Valerie, we are saying no more. My gift to you today is, I'm going to be sharing with you a book that I just started reading, and the name is What Happened to You by Oprah Winfrey. I was thinking today how Valerie was talking about her body image, and it got to a point where she said, I don't understand why I'm doing this to my body. What I love about this book, and I highly recommend, is that it helps you understand the why. Why are you getting the results that you're getting that you're not happy with? You know that you're damaging your body with the food intake and you're gaining weight, but you cannot stop it. There's a reason why. In order to understand this, you read the book that Oprah Winfrey did with a tremendous psychologist that helps you understand that your past is what's driving your present and your future. And if we don't become aware that there is a past that is driving you now, then we lose the opportunity of change. Change that are necessary. Changes like the one Valerie did. Why? Because she became curious and asked the question, what happened to me that I got to this place where I'm destroying my temple, my body? So I am encouraging you to read the book, What Happened to Me by Oprah Winfrey, and start understanding what is happening to you now. I truly believe that we fulfill the intention of our show today. We wanted to inform you of trauma sensitivity. We wanted to let you know that there are ways that we can deal with trauma that can make a difference and bring the awareness that is needed to be able to make a change. You got to hear my gift, the book that Oprah Winfrey just came out with. This book can change your life. The intention of the show, again, was to inform you, to help you create change in your life. I feel honored that I am here today sharing with you the lives of so many people that are going to inspire you to say no more. This show cannot exist without an amazing production. Thank you to my team. I want to thank Louis Capelli for creating this beautiful space for us, as I say, to continue impacting the world. How can you make a difference? You can go into our website and donate to the vision and the mission of yodigonomas. We need your help. In addition to that, you can join our show by coming and telling your story and breaking your silence. Also, subscribe to our talk show, Yodigonomas, on YouTube. Simple ways that you can impact the world. And together, we can say no more.